good. How are you?
All right.
I just trying to get right here.
Yeah, look at it online.
Oh, that's the roses.
Just didn't want to
Start, should I
print
wait?
it out, so.
He said he's gonna be here. I can give him a call.
Who's that,
See
Bill?
what his status is.
I don't think Evan's coming.
We have a quorum anyhow.
Well, and I'm the alternate, so I can do it from here.
Like I'm at the
Bill
theater or
said he's
something.
coming, so
You know, let people.
I don't want to jump the gun.
Do you want to?
Yeah, actually,
Because
that's.
I was
Well, if Bill
gonna
doesn't
do
show,
one.
if Bill doesn't show,
Oh.
We
I
can
don't
do
feel-
that.
Yeah,
I don't
that's.
think Evan's
yeah,
going
yeah,
to
yeah.
do that.
We're moving.
yeah, sure, just.
Yeah,
There we go. That way.
Oh,
Well,
you're cheating on my camera angles, dude. Jeez.
Get closer, the pressure's on.
Oh, man.
You're gonna beat me. I'm shoulder thumbed out.
Want to let you know we're working on those signs for the Polar Express. Okay, front, back, but we don't have any lights.
I got the lights from Blackout.
Good, okay.
Thank you, Bill.
I'm going to Polar Express.
Expecting
big things from the budget. I heard that, yeah.
That's Sunday, right?
Yeah. No, Saturday.
We'll be there Saturday, Sunday. There's another group we're gonna put on probation on Friday. Another Rotary Club, but I won't say anything. Where are they from? That group? That's Twain Harbor Rotary. Twain Harbor.
I just didn't want to bad mouth the girls.
Hey, Bev, is there a drinking fountain here close by?
Just give me a minute.
Yes, there is, Ron. You want me to get you a glass of water?
That'd be great.
Okay.
I'm
All
dry as a
right. Or
bone.
we actually have a bottle, just go and get a bottle.
Oh, that's.
Wow.
Where is it, Doug? I can get it.
Get a bottle of water for him.
I forgot we had them in here.
Yeah. Anyone else want a bottle of water while we're having a break?
I believe it's got caffeine in it.
They did have a latte?
I'm worn out. 3 days of polar, I'm worn out and I'm peopled out.
Oh, it's already started.
Yeah, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And it's amazing how many get there at 7:30 for the 7:30
Shut
train,
down
and
to
you're trying to
run
park
there.
them, and you're trying to, your train's about,
Here, I'll take it, Ron.
I'm sorry, I wasn't thinking.
There you go.
Hey,
There you go. How's that for service?
Anybody?
Any mulch in it?
What was the
Office and something.
answer? Did we,
Oh, I'm good. Anyone else?
I can do it from here, but I'm the
I'll
alternate.
take it in case I empty out though.
What if Bill shows up in 5-10 minutes?
Keep us
then
good.
we'll
Oh,
do
that's
it.
okay. I've got this. Oh,
Flip?
I have it.
Bill?
Can you flip like that?
I'm good to
I
go.
really wouldn't. Yeah, Just whoever's here, let's do it.
If he's here, can he stay in the room?
Yeah, you can stay in the room and listen.
Okay.
okay, so let's,
Jim's in.
Jim, you're the
Okay.
alternate.
All right.
Oh, okay.
With that.
For Bill?
There were attempts to reach Bill, and I'll leave it at that. All right, so, calling the special meeting of the Transportation Council to order. Anybody from the public wishing to speak, this would be that opportunity. Seeing none, we'll move on to the regular agenda. Report on settlement agreement between Caltrans and Tykert MCM regarding fines from the California Regional Water Quality Board, unanticipated costs related to stormwater management work, and consideration of approving resolution number 536-15, supporting a supplemental funds request to the California Transportation Commission. With that, I'll turn it over to Darren.
Yes. Thank you. Before we get started, I want to introduce some folks here. We have from Caltrans. We have Samuel Jordan, Joy Panay, our project manager, and Cliff Adams, construction management. I'll give them a chance to talk about the funding request, supplemental funding request to Caltrans here after I go to my staff report. But I first want to kind of start off with some background. As you might recall, the $53.4 million East Sonora Bypass project was funded by a combination of the TCT's Regional Improvement Program funds at an amount of $16,947,000 combined with Caltrans Interregional Improvement Program funds of $27,181,000 and $14,530,000 from the Proposition 1B Corridor Mobility Improvement account. Caltrans initiated construction in 2012, and it was completed and opened to the public in November 2013. The project was completed ahead of schedule, which allowed the TCTC to subsequently put $1,284,000 in savings towards the Peaceful Oak Ramp Interchange project. During construction, the bypass violations of the Caltrans stormwater permit occurred. After completion of construction on December 17th, Caltrans provided details of the violations and efforts that were made to rectify the problem that occurred between October and December 2012. That was presented at the TCTC meeting. I provided detailed explanation from that meeting in relation to the settlement agreement.
Bill, we've already put him in as the alternate when we call the meeting to order.
Okay.
Sorry about that.
Evan's absent.
Yeah.
No.
Can't take that.
You're welcome to stay though, Bill, if you like.
No, I don't need to.
Okay. Okay, so again, we have a detailed description in your packet that Caltrans provided back in December of 2014 to the TCTC and what occurred and the efforts that were made by the contractor to address stormwater runoff violations. Unfortunately, the Water Board imposed a $3.6 million administrative civil liability fine, which was later reduced to $2.7 million upon appeal. Of that amount, $443,000 was suspended pending completion of a Mariposa supplemental environmental project, and $148,000 of the fine was agreed to be credited as supplemental enhanced compliance mitigations were enacted on East North Bypass Stage 2. The balance of the fine was paid with remaining funds in the construction contract. Subsequent to the December 17th meeting, the district director and myself agreed that Caltrans would initially cover those fines, work through arbitration with the contractor, and then negotiate a contribution towards the fines and claims once they are final. Caltrans has settled with the contractor for the additional costs that were unanticipated in our funding in our contract as well for $1,722,048. The contractor's portion of the fines was set at $715,974. On November 30th, Caltrans presented a supplemental funds request that is scheduled, at that point in time, scheduled for the December 9th California Transportation Commission meeting in Riverside. Two things to note. First off, I said December 7th in my staff report. That's an error. It should have been the 9th. And then secondly, Samuel confirmed for me just prior to this meeting that item has been pulled off the CPC agenda. Okay. In the absence of all...
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
Do we know when it's going to be back on the agenda?
Hopefully for January. January.
So in the absence of an alternate cost-sharing arrangement, the CTC guidelines suggest that increases would be apportioned based on the same percentages as they were programmed. Given that there are no CMIA bond funds left, they've all been spent at this point in time. We're working off our shares or percentages off their RIP and IIP funds, which would give us a share of 30% on the Tuolumne County TCTC side and 70% Caltrans. We don't have any RIP funds available at this point in time. They've all been spoken for. You will be adopting an RTIP submittal in December, which fully programs every dollar available. And I would probably also point out that the STIP fund estimate shows no new money in the 2016 STIP, so that's a challenge. What we've proposed is that we use proceeds from excess right-of-way sales. As you might recall, Senator Garamendi helped us get special legislation to use the proceeds from excess right-of-way along the relinquished route on new projects on the state highway system. To do that, we would need to pass a resolution proposing the alternative use of the funds, and then the California Transportation Commission would likewise need to pass a resolution approving the alternative use of those funds. I would point out that normally when excess right-of-way is sold, it goes into the state general fund as far as I know. So this is a little bit of an unusual item for Caltrans, and that's one more reason that it's good that the item was pulled off the December CTC agenda so that we can talk those issues through with Caltrans and the CTC staff up in Sacramento.
Darren, on that excess funds, did we have that programmed anywhere? I just couldn't remember.
At one point in time, we requested some of the funds go towards purchase of hardship sales in stage 3 of the bypass, and stage 2 area as well.
But no other plans designated?
Yeah, that's correct. And to the best of my knowledge, we end up using RIP funds for those purchases anyways. And Samuel has promised me that we would have, hopefully in not too distant future, a complete description of all the parcels that are defined as along the relinquished route that could be used for alternative state highway projects, and what the Caltrans estimated value of those parcels is, along with what has been sold off to date. So that's something that the district is committed to, and we appreciate that. That'll help us. But in the meantime, Caltrans right-of-way folks, Anthony Dorn, has been with the district quite a ways all the way through this project, has informed us there's about $611,000 in proceeds from properties in the last year that could be reprogrammed pursuant to the government code for an alternative project. I apologize for not getting the resolution out, but that would support the supplemental funds request as well as request the CTC reprogramming of those dollars for our share of the supplemental funds request. But I did pass it out for you. I'm not asking for any
Right, we're not taking any
today.
action on it.
I'll bring it back after meeting with folks in Sacramento for your regular meeting in December 16th.
And the question is whether this excess money can be used for what we're proposing to use it for.
Yeah, we need to work that through. So, and one other thing that, again, I apologize, I didn't put in your packet, I referenced it, but I didn't put in, as you'll see it here, it's Caltrans's report to the CTC with their supplemental funds requests. And I'd ask that at this point in time, they kind of go over the supplemental funds request and then answer any questions the commission might have, or the council might have.
Okay, so we'll turn it over to Caltrans?
Yeah.
Okay.
And Joy, the floor is yours. Joy is our project manager, so she's more intimate with the project and the history and the details. So I defer to her to go over the supplemental funds request.
So a year ago when we had the violations, we've been kind of doing through the arbitration, and Cliff can speak more towards that in the settlement. But the settlement was on October 28th. And as Darren mentioned, it was in the amount of $1,722,500 and almost $46. And I went back and forth with headquarters and CTC staff on what our options were, and in discussing with Darren laid out a proposal, which he's given you a lot of the background there. And so the numbers are a little confusing in that the fine has already been paid, but this is a settlement for outstanding claim that the contractor had. And the original claim was for 5.2 million. And through arbitration and mediation, it was reduced to the final number of the 1.7 million. And so in working with them, with headquarters programming and CTC staff, and looking at the original programming, and if there were any other agreements in place throughout cooperative agreement or some other type of agreement, we didn't have anything, and according to the STIP guidelines, as Darren mentioned, it comes out proportionally. So your share would end up being about 540,000 of IIP, I mean, not RIP.
Sure.
And then the remainder would come out of the IIP funding, and they as well are fully programmed, so they weren't particularly thrilled with the settlement either, but regardless, we need to pay off the contractor and close out this contract. Do you have any questions specific that I can answer?
So what we're looking at is the 540,000 is not attributed to the fine, but it's attributed to the additional costs that were incurred on
the contract.
Okay.
Correct.
And where does that money, the fine money go?
The fine was paid out of the remaining money that was in the contract.
And where does that fine money go?
Goes to the State Water Board.
State Water Board.
Yes.
Do they have a state budget, do they?
Yes, they do.
They have a state budget besides that?
Yes, they do.
Okay. I was letting them believe that they didn't have a state budget.
State Water Resources Control Board?
Yeah, so they get the fines too, huh?
Yes.
Okay.
That's how they fund their
Program.
is finding.
They also have a budget though, from the state.
Anything else to add, or?
I don't have anything unless you have specific questions.
So our portion
There's
is at 540, or did I miss something? Is it-
No, that's your portion. That's
Okay.
30% of the fine was, ended up being 540,000. I asked for 1.8 million, or I prepared the request to go to the CTC for 1.8 million rounded up. So that would be 30% of the
30% of the
1.8
1.8?
Just to comment, it's obviously you did a fairly decent job of moving it from 5 million to 1.8. That you should be commended for that. The question I have, I guess, I don't know who can answer it, is that if we can't use that 611,000 to pay that overage, where do we go?
Well, I'm not certain of how it would play out. We are asking for 376,000 for current RIP fund balance to go to the Washington Street bus stop project. Assuming that they agree with that programming submittal later this month, we would need an advance on the 540,000. STIP does allow you to advance up to 2 times your average regional share. So that, and we've done this in the past when we did hardship purchases, where they will spend the money as we've requested, as long as they're in agreement with it, and then the next STIP cycle, they deduct it off the top. So it would come out of future revenues.
Not ones that we have not earmarked money that we have.
Most likely not, but that's one of those questions I think we'd need to square away with them to get on the same page with prior to your next meeting. Can't speak for them, but I just know how this could play out.
So you will champion the position that...
Yes, absolutely.
So what is the feeling, or what is the best opinion on this 611 available from recently sold excess right-of-way? Is that probable, possible, or are we dreaming?
Well, I'll give my thoughts on it. We in your attachments, there's an opinion from a Caltrans attorney that explains how this can be done. We have submitted resolutions in the past requesting these funds be used for hardship purchases for stage 3 and stage 2. CTC has passed resolutions supporting the use of those funds for that purpose. Like I said, I don't know that it actually played out that way, because I think at the time there hadn't been any property sold, and we ended up using RIP, as memory serves me correct. So I think the mechanism is there, but I'll defer to Samuel or Joy to talk about kind of what they're hearing from Sacramento.
In all honesty, further research is needed to resolve this issue. If you are to follow the STEP guidelines, maybe they do not want you to go in that direction, the right-of-way direction. They just want you to stay focused on the RIP and HIP, which is the regional and the interregional. But with that said, and the opinion that Caltrans wrote years ago, back in 1998, I did share it with the division chief for programming this morning. I attached it to email, sent it to him to look at and evaluate and give me guidance, and the same thing to help me and explain to Darren what the next steps should be. So we have a lot going on at this time. There's a lot of things in motion. But the one thing I was able to guarantee from him this morning is to remove the item from the CPC meeting that was supposed to happen this week in Riverside. So that was one positive step we took in the right direction. And like I said, we're continuing on to talk with them to figure out the solution to how we could use this money to pay for the county share.
So tentatively, it's possibly moved to January.
That's right.
Is that a good move, or can we maybe delay it to February?
There is no meeting in February. I think the one after January will be in March. But with this settlement, then the court gave us 120 days to pay it. Otherwise, interest would start to accrue.
Okay.
So to avoid additional cost, we have to pay it within the 120 days. So that's very critical.
I'm just wondering what else is on the agenda in January, and will that be viewed positively or negatively?
We do have other projects on the
Than right away for stages 2 and 3.
Yes.
Because you asked about if anything else needs to happen. That I think will need to happen.
Which is this resolution here, which would also, we would need a resolution from the California Transportation Commission to allow that as well.
So we address this in January, or December,
December 16th. Yes.
and then will we have time to meet the deadline? Yeah, we probably would.
Yes. And in the meantime, we'll be meeting with Caltrans, let them know what direction we're headed.
Anything further? Gentlemen, any other questions? Okay. Any public comment? Seeing none, meeting is adjourned.
Thank you.
Thank you.